3 reasons not to learn React. Welcome, my name is Anton from Code and Success. I work as a full-stack freelance developer and I really am not a big fan of React. And today I have 3 reasons for you why you should not learn it. Let's begin. Reason number 1. Bad architecture. What do I mean? Compared to other frameworks, and I like to compare it with Angular because it is the second biggest player on the market. React was developed by Facebook, by Meta, and I'm not sure why they did the architecture that they have, but learning React a few years ago, and I learned it actually, I had to use it to learn how to make Shopify apps. And if you have worked with Angular or other frameworks, for example with Angular, you have everything divided. You have a file for HTML, a file for CSS, a file for the logic and the testing file. And with React, things are kind of mixed. Like you have the HTML, which is basically not very clean HTML, it's called JSX, mixed with the logic file, and it looks super ugly together. Then I had trouble to communicate between 2 components, between the child and the parent component. In Angular, you can just use the service to communicate with each other. You can use inputs and outputs, but in React, you have only one way communication as far as I understand. And when I tried to have a normal communication between 2 components, I almost broke my leg. What kind of mess was that? I was just playing around with React for a few weeks. It was just terrible, really not enjoyable at all. I don't understand how it's praised all the time on the internet for being so simple to learn, but Angular is so complicated to learn. No, it's the other way around. Angular is just straightforward and logical, but React was just very crazy to understand. I didn't get it. I didn't get the way it was designed, all the architecture. It didn't make much sense to me. Reason number 2, it's too weak. What do I mean by this? Of course, when we talk about frameworks like Angular, Vue.js, React, then of course we talk about frameworks. But as you may know, React isn't even a framework. It's just a library because it doesn't come with all the sets of tools that you need. You need to install everything, starting with forms, then getting to reactive programming, and so on and so forth. You're wasting your time just installing all these things, configuring them all just to get started finally. Also, it is said that it's very good if you want to do something quickly. I would even disagree with that because it's just so complicated, and Angular or any other tools are just way quicker to use to set up something, in my opinion. But there comes a point where it's just not strong anymore and you have to upgrade. You have to use Angular, for example, for enterprise applications. Like all the very big applications, they usually use Angular. Only not so many websites that are kind of big use React, like Netflix, for example. But that's really more the exception than the use case. If you want to have something strong, something robust, React is not it. You need something else. And reason number 3, bad scalability. And that's what I just mentioned. Really, this is the use case. If you read about this, React is good for if you want to do something quickly, maybe for small applications, but there comes a point and things just get messy and you will struggle with things like the hooks and endless loops and other strange things that you don't need. While in Angular, everything is straightforward. You can divide everything into modules, which in React is not so easy, and you can really scale something big and have very difficult, very strong applications with it. React, not possible, no. Or very, very difficult and not sexy or beautiful at all. So this is my short list where I don't really like it. Overall, it's just not handy to use. It's not beautiful, it's not logical, it is kind of weak compared to other frameworks, especially to Angular. And I urge people, instead of learning Angular, because it's more popular, focus on the things that are valuable. Angular is also very popular, maybe not as popular as React for some reason, but it is way stronger and usually better paid. Because if you work with React, you will mostly apply, if you want to find a job, at smaller companies, and they pay less than big companies. That's also a reason to keep in mind. And with Angular, you oftentimes can apply to big companies that use the Angular framework, and they oftentimes pay better. Those are things to think about. Overall, my suggestion, try out both frameworks for a few weeks and you will see Angular is way more logical, way more easier to use, to learn, to understand. That's my advice for you today. I hope you learned something. See you next time. Goodbye.